everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I think that Zuckerberg is going to be a little upset. You know, he thought, finally, I'm going to get some subscribers. It's going to revitalize Facebook. I'm going to allow for free speech. We're going to have people coming over because their TikTok has been taken away, and we can capitalize on it. The live stream. I think that Zuckerberg is going to be a little... gotta say. And what's happening is that, no, like, people are going on an actual Chinese app. The New York Post reported it. There's an actual app, which, unlike TikTok, like, the thing with TikTok is it's made by China, but they're selling it to Westerners, right? This one is, like, the legit TikTok app. It's called the Red Book, and it's kind of like an Instagram mixed with a little bit of TikTok. And so... it's actually designed for Chinese people. But now Americans are making so many accounts on it that the app is a #1 seller in the United States. Like, if you go on on the App Store, I think, or what does Samsung use, like their version, you're going to see there this one, the little red book, being designated as the #1 app. And so let me see if I can find an article that is going to describe what's happening a lot better than I just did. I know I have it saved somewhere. Ah, here we go. Now, just to figure out how to put it onto the screen. 50 Shades of Way is what people are calling it. The US is banning TikTok, so the New York Post is talking about what is a red note. New York Post, what is red note? Red note is actually translated to the little red book, is what Chairman Mao required people to have. Every single communist in China needed to have the little red book. Had some quotes from Mao, and you had to know them. And this is what the app is called. So tens of millions of American users of TikTok who are going for a battle at the app are migrating en masse to another Chinese-owned platform, which has emerged as an alternative. Now, here's the thing. The moral busybodies just don't want to understand reality. Like, it's not about agreeing with it, but it's about accepting that this is what's happening. And the moral busybodies that I see, like the people who want TikTok banned, just fail to grasp the reality. The concept of the moral busybody is like, we're going to force good upon you, right? Like, you are a citizen, and I'm going to force well-being whether you like it or not. And they're saying, like, you're not going to have your data stolen by the CCP. That's bad for you. So I am going to stop it. Like, I'm going to force you, to constrain you for your safety. Right, now, this is the moral busybody mindset. The mindset of the person is like, I'm having fun using this app. You're taking it away from me. I fucking hate you. I despise you. I hate who you are, what you stand for. Your very existence is an affront to me. And I have no power to hurt you, but what I can do is to make absolutely sure that you fail at what you try to accomplish. And if you're saying that you want to protect my data, then I will give it willingly, because you haven't convinced me of your point. And so I am actually, you know, even if it hurts me, it doesn't matter. It will bring me happiness and joy to see you upset. This is the mindset of the people that are installing this app. Again, the moral busybody goes like, well, these people are imbeciles. They're stupid. Why are they doing this? They fail to grasp what is taking place. And again, you don't have to agree with it, but you have to understand they're doing this because they hate you. And the moral busybody just doesn't position himself in a situation where they are hated by tens of millions of people. They cannot grasp the fact that they have antagonized. Like in their mind, it's like, well, it's just a TikTok app. Like, who cares, right? Like, I'm going to ban it. People will move on. People are not moving on. They're staying there, and they're spiting you consistently, right? Now, this is not about TikTok. It's just the mindset of the moral busybody. They don't understand that they're creating resentment. They're fostering legit I don't know if I can say it hate, but like, you're making people to go out of their way to dedicate their time and resource just to fuck with you. And so, like, if you are worried about the Chinese government getting access to people's data, they will make sure that this is exactly what's not going to take place. Like, you're actually going to get the thing that you didn't want. And the thing is, like, if people do this consistently, then over time, the moral busybody may get it, that it's like, okay, if I just ban something, like, people will just find ways to fuck with me. What if I just try to talk to people? What if I just try to convince them of my point? And what if I accept that no matter what that point is, I will never reach consensus? Like, maybe I'll get some people to not use TikTok. Maybe I'll get, like, 70% of them not to use it. But, like, I'm never going to get 100%. And maybe you can ban it from, like, government and public spaces and stuff like that. But you can't ban it nationwide. And if you do try to ban it nationwide, you will achieve the exact opposite result. This is what's happening here. At the end of the day, I don't even have a TikTok account. I don't even care about this particular app. But this is human nature. This is why, like, a lot of people fail to understand. It's like
it to be, and time will tell, of course, as to whether or not it simply becomes part of a negotiation deck of cards.
Okay, you cannot force people if you don't communicate with them. V, can you have gay sex and still be straight? I think no. My brain bound to a tree and someone behind me. Boy. Yeah, like, obviously, there are situations where, this is to the video that I made on my main channel. Yeah, like, you can have gay sex and not be gay. Like, if you're forced, like, you're in prison, and inmate Tyrone comes behind you and you drop the soap, you can have gay sex and not be gay. It's the definition of what gayness is, right? Like, is it just the attraction? Is it, like, the act itself? Is it the temptation? I think that it's the act, right? Like, if you willingly engage in homosexual behavior, regardless of the reasoning, like, let's say you're on an island and you have, like, no other option, there's just, like, one other guy with you and you're both consenting and you're having gay sex, yeah, I think you're gay. Or at least bisexual. You can be bisexual, but you're not straight. SRC Maker, thank you for the $10. Why would you install more Chinese spyware? What's wrong with them? Well, it's the fact that they didn't consent with having their Chinese spyware removed. Like, this is something that you need to understand. There are individuals out there that do not have the same geopolitical considerations like you do. Like maybe there is a person that doesn't care about what happens to his private data. And when the American government comes and they're like, okay, you're going to lose access to the social media website. So you're going to lose all your friends, all your subscribers, all of your numbers. Because it's for your own good, well, then that person will be, you know what? Who are you to say what's for my own good? Like, maybe I'm going to decide for my own self. And maybe my own good is to piss you off. And if for my own good is not to have social media because China is going to take my data, then I will actually give it to them and I will keep installing it and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's the mindset, right? Like, that's why they're doing it. People not give a shit about their data is the reason why we are here. Exactly. Like, why don't people give a shit about their data? Because 10 years ago, well, actually, no, 20 years ago, I remember Blizzard had this initiative to tie people's Facebook username to the Battle.net account. So, like, if you posted on the Blizzard forum, it would be not your name SRC Maker, but it would be, like, your actual name associated with the account, right? Like, people would see your Facebook, people would see who you are. And so, like, people were so upset because they viewed this as a violation of their data that they protested. They started closing the Battle.net accounts. And eventually, Blizzard had to roll back on it. Now, I want you to realize how people wouldn't give a shit today if it happened, right? Why? Because every single company is harvesting your data. And so, like, from an individual person that doesn't care about geopolitics, like, he's just Jon Stewart living in rural Kentucky. He doesn't care if the data gets taken by Facebook or if it gets taken by the CCP. Like, the very fact, the moment his data was initially took from him, and he consented, then at that point it doesn't matter. He's like, okay, if I use the internet, my data is out there anyway. I can't have privacy no matter what I do, and so I don't give a fuck. It has been normalized. Hello, Doug. I haven't used any of my Blizzard games since Microsoft took over. Wow, that's a long time. Is it supposed that TikTok is literally Chinese spyware? Yes, but like the idea that a lot of moral busybodies don't understand is that people being aware that TikTok is Chinese spyware, like, despite the fact that they know, they used it anyway. Like, yes, I know it's spyware, all right? Like, I'm aware, let me use it. And this is where the conflict comes, because the government is like, no, you're not allowed to use spyware. And it's like, well, why the fuck not? It's my computer, it's my data. Why are you banning me? Alex Jones interviewing Georgescu. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, New York Post. TikTok. Let me show you some of the things that are happening. First of all is Americans getting banned. Because you need to understand, this is a Chinese app. Like, this app is actually... unlike TikTok, like TikTok was an app made by China for the United States, right? Well, for the West. This one is an app made by China for Chinese people. And so, like, the moderation is specific for the Chinese people. And a lot of Americans are having difficulty struggling with this because basically, you know, you're like, oh... welcome, American. Welcome to China. You don't like your government. That's okay. Welcome to China. I'm doing Mexican rather than Chinese. But it's basically like you will get the pop-up. You'll get the pop-up. You need allow. Always click allow on pop-up. And then once you are here, you are allowed to use the app. But do not bring your Baizu shit here, right? No LGBT, no Antifa flag. No, we ban that. Only fun things allowed. No politics. No politics. No cleavage. Do not show tits. This isn't Twitch. We are a Christian conservative nation here. And as you can see, like, the Americans are showing this, like, ask app not to track. Allow. Absolutely. Like, they're like, yes, take it. Take it, CCP. Chairman Z, here's my data. Always allow. And this is, like, what's trending right now. Americans showing that they're allowing this app, which, again, is made by the CCP, in order to... Like, they don't need to install spyware, basically. Like, look, CCP, you don't have to use spyware. I will give it to you for free. And so, this is how the app looks like. Like, the app used to be completely filled with Chinese people doing Chinese things, and now it's filled with Americans. Howdy, partner. LGBT rainbow. Hello, I'm a TikTok refugee. TikTok refugee. You got some Chinese posts here and there. I am a TikTok refugee. Another TikTok refugee. TikTok refugees have invaded the Chinese version of Instagram. And so, the Chinese people are interacting with their newfound American friends. Let me see if I can find a couple of examples. I think I was actually talking with someone from China about this, who is absolutely horrified. And he hopes, like I don't know if they do thoughts and prayers. They probably don't. But he feels bad for the moderation team working at Red Note, which is going to have to filter through a lot of American progressive content. Here's one. This one went viral. You may not recognize me, but I am your Chinese spy. So happy to meet you here that I won't get fired. My baby, I found you again. Right? So, like, this TikTok refugee who was told by the US government that the platform is dangerous has managed to find their Chinese spy on the other platform. But there's also, like, a lot of interesting content as well. This Chinese gentleman wants to show all the Americans his dog. I will introduce my dog to every foreigner. Right? So, like, here you have this person. I will introduce my dog to every foreigner, and you have a picture of the dog. Is it true that Americans have to work 2 jobs to survive? So, like, this Chinese lady is having the inquiries. Like, she's trying to figure out if what she heard about Americans is true, now that she has the opportunity to speak to actual Americans on her CCP authorized platform. Other Chinese people are basically extorting the young Americans for their data. They're basically outright demanding it. Give me your data, right? Like if you're on the Chinese app, you gotta give the data. And finally, we also have like this interesting exchange. See you from X. Yes, I would like to report a now known virus that started on my military base in 2018. Who can I speak to? And this interesting cultural exchange is leading to a lot of Americans going, it's like, I was told to dislike Chinese people, but like they seem to be really nice. Why is my government disliking them? There's a lot of women that are thirsty for for American men. As you can see here in the pictures that they're showing, they seem to yeah. There's also this one. I find it very interesting. Come here, I am rich. And you get to see a Chinese lady. Probably a single mom, I assume, right? This is like, come here, I am rich. The entire day on Twitter was filled with these type of here we go, like another interesting take. Welcome, my American friend. I am your new Chinese spy friend. Red Note got me wondering why we're always beefing with China. I love them. So again, the complete opposite effect of what the government tried accomplishing by banning the app. Certain Chinese women are trying to flirt with American men. You got stuff like this. You are very special. You are the most special boy I have ever seen. You have a very special sense of loneliness that others can't see. But I know that although you are happy on the surface, you are lonely and broken in your heart. By the way, look at your abdominal muscles. And so, like, you have various TikTok influencers that seem a little bit beefy, like Gym Bros, getting. Is this what like American women experience when dealing with Facebook with members from the Hindi community? Because like again, like there seems to be a trend with very rich and wealthy Chinese ladies that are hitting on all these these like buffed American men. Why do we need to wear shirts? Aren't we family on the internet? Why so awkward? Yeah, like, apparently there are certain rules where you have to abide by on this platform. Like, it's not like TikTok in the sense that you can have, like, fat acceptance and LGBT stuff. Like, no. There are certain things that are illegal in China, and so you can't post them on the Red Note. One of them has to do with LGBT activism. Another has to do with feminism. Another has to do with lewdness, right? So, like, you can't be shirtless. You can't, right? And so, like, Chinese people are scolding Americans for their lack of proper etiquette. And the Americans are fighting back with their postmodernist rhetoric. Which is basically like, well, why can't we be shirtless? We are all Americans. We are all a family here on the internet. Apparently, Red Note is working overtime to open the online translation function to take this wave of huge wealth. In fact, the internal channel rumors is that working overtime to open the shielding function so that Chinese IP and foreigners IP cannot see each other's content or reduce the frequency of pushing each other in order to cope with the regulatory requirements. So basically, the people in charge of Red Note, they want separation. They want to segregate the Americans from the normal people. God. All right. Hold on. Let me see if I can find more stuff. We got a lady that seems to be very upset about what's happening here. Let me see if I can find her TikTok video. Like it's really interesting. Like this lady that is upset that people who are having TikTok banned are going on another Chinese app.
Not to be dramatic, but you should definitely be scared about RedNote being the #1 app in the App Store right now.
We have turned to RedNote, to Zhaohongzhu, literally translated to the little red book.
I'm Ari, and I've been in the trenches of social media since TikTok was still called Musical.ly, so let me break...
That's not an old time, by the way. Like, you've just been around for a couple of years. That's not impressive, lady.
Down what's actually going on right now. RedNote, aka Zhaohongzhu, is like if Pinterest and TikTok had a baby, and that baby was raised by the CCP.
Right, I like the Homeland... I like the Department of Homeland Security, right? There's no DARPA or DIGRA or anything like that, right? So it's not American. The US government doesn't have control, so you should be scared.
In China.
This was a book known as Quotations by Chairman Mao that he required everyone in communist China to have and to basically know.
By the way, as a staunch anti-communist myself, I gotta say that some of those quotes are kind of based. Like, let me give you some quotes from the Little Red Book. Hold on, I think I can ask Grok for those because I don't have the Red Book at hand. Give me some quotes from Mao's Red Book. Political power grows out of the barrel of a gun. Oh, already we have a term of safety violation. Serve the people. The people and the people alone are the motive force in making of world history. Women hold up half the sky. I don't know, Mao. That's not pretty base. That's kind of American thinking. Without investigation, there is no right to speak. In other words, this is, I think, Mao's version of fighting against harmful disinformation. Letting 100 flowers blossom and 100 schools of thought contend is the policy for promoting progress in the arts and the science and a flourishing socialist culture in our land. Look, he's against censorship. A revolution is not a dinner party or writing an essay or painting a picture or doing embroidery. It cannot be so refined, so leisurely and gentle, so temperate, kind, courteous, restrained. A revolution is an insurrection, an act of violence by which one class overthrows another. In other words, he's saying here in 4 lines what Americans like to say, you can't have an omelet without breaking a few eggs. See, there's a lot of cultural overlap here between the Democrat Party and Mao's Red Book. You gotta appreciate the fact... I wonder who inspired from whom. I think the Democrats, they got a little inspiration from Mao. SRC Maker, thank you for the $10. This goes back to your point about European social media apps. If someone in Europe creates one and EU allows it, if the US can block a Chinese spyware and Schiphol can install EU spyware instead. The EU cannot have social media apps until it changes its GDPR policies. It is extremely expensive to be GDPR compliant. And so the European Union has to use Elon Musk's platform. We gotta use TikTok. We gotta use other people's stuff because they have crippled the ability and the capacity of innovation for people within Europe. Be right back, joining RedNote to meet with the Chinese girls. My goodness. Is it though? Well, hold on. Dude, come on. Let me just look back at the original picture. Let's see, where was it? Where was the lady? God damn it! Why did I miss the picture? It's okay, I'll find it, chat. I just need to scroll down a little bit more. Oh, do we have Ben Shapiro being concerned? Not yet. Okay. I was worried for a little while that I'll see Ben Shapiro telling us about foreign influences. It's look, Americans, do not be deceived. This app is not from Israel, it is from China. You gotta, some foreign interference is okay, other not so much, right? Not all foreign interference is the same. Do you think this is what Ben Shapiro would say? I think it would be. Oh my god, I just saw... Hold on, chat. I just saw something. These are some of the memes that are being shared right now with the TikTok refugees. This is what, like, someone from China did for, like, the American refugees. Yeah, I can't find the picture. But I was like looking at the Chinese lady that was like, I'm rich. Come over here, I'm rich. And I was like, dude, how desperate do you need to be? Like, she looked like a middle-aged woman and a single mom. And not to mention, like, she would be Chinese-oriented, right? Like, she would be like a Chinese culture. Like, that woman wouldn't be fucking around. Like she's not going to tolerate your American nonsense. She's going to force you to actually be a man and do things and go to the gym and work out and not embarrass her in her community. Like, you're not going to be able to, like, oh yes, I'm going to have like a sugar mommy that's going to entertain. No, she's not going to be just a sugar. She's going to actually be a strong and empowered woman that's going to tell you, it's like, hey, you know, I may be rich, but like, you need to start earning at least half the wealth that I make. Here we go, right? Like, here is the, finally, I found the image. Come here, I am rich, right? And so, I wouldn't go there, chat. I wouldn't go there. And it's not just because I'm a married man, but like, I think I can do better. I think I can do better here. Like, I'm not going to go for the exports. Like, I think like I can still figure it out with the imports. Even if like the current market would be harsh, like it is in America, I wouldn't. White boy, why can't you keep it up for 4 hours? White boy, why you not have like this sentiment? Oh, maybe she is a nice person. Yes, I'm pretty sure. See, I'm pretty sure like this is why she is such a nice person that she has to go on an app and try to import Americans. Like, come on. Like, no self-respecting lady would say, come here, I am rich. Like she would already have someone. But my god, I just realized something. Holy shit. She can't see over the wheel, chat. Do the Chinese have like their own version of smart cars that drive themselves? Like, I'm actually surprised that Twitter doesn't say she's underage. Look at her height. Like, she is literally at the same level as the wheel. No, the wheel is bigger than her head. Can you... Dude, like, this is like a real life... Yeah, like, no, seriously, if you go out with this girl, like, Twitter is going to start levying accusations against you. Like, there's going to be aunties on Twitter that are going to accuse you of liking underage women. Like, just by comparing the environment with her, I can realize just how small she is. Like, again, she can't see over the wheel. The wheel is bigger than her head. Look at the mirror. Look at the mirror, how big it is compared to her. Like, this lady is tiny. Oh, my goodness. I'll make a man out of you. Yeah. Like, literally, that's the song of the Chinese women. Be right back, joining Red Note. Jacob Andrew, thank you for the 50 Romanians. How much information will these people leak on Red Note just to spy Trump? Pictures, military conversations, locations of bases, informations, or certain people's CCP dislikes. No, not none of that. No. Like, what people are talking about is like the basic data harvesting that every single American social media company does. Okay? So basically your location, like when you consent for your location, like it actually knows where your computer is, like your actual address. They have access to your face. In other words, they can use your face in commercials or to create AI or anything like that. They own your content. So, like, if you make a video, like, the Chinese government can use that video in a news segment or in anything like that, and you can't sue for intellectual property violations. If you show, like, a video of your video game that you're making or anything like that, if you play a song, right? Like, if you play a song on this app, the Chinese government owns the rights to that song in the sense, like, not that they can taken away from you. But like if they want to market that song and sell it, they can. You can't sue them for that, right? And then like the other data is everything you post, right? Like they will store everything, like all the conversations, all the messages, everything like that. Who you're friends with, what you like they can then use AI in order to create a profile about the type of person you are. Like if you go on Grok right now and you click the Grok AI, like it will tell you you're a person that's a right-winger who believes in blah 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 blah. Like let me actually show you what it can do, right? Hold on. So Grok's AI isn't even that well developed, but like I've already seen it do this. So let me see what it says if I ask it about myself. V, a Romanian with 37 years of diverse hobby experiences, believes that Western culture struggles with behavioral issues and that diversity initiatives can lead to social fragmentation. V has been critiquing political decisions from infrastructure bills to international conflicts, while also diving into gaming culture and data privacy debates. The community engages with V on topics like gaming, politics, and cultural commentary with Aristocratic Utensil, Freedom Alternative, and other people, right? So, like, again, they can do this. Like, if you use that app for long enough, you can then have their AI just tell you what they know about you, right? So, like, a quote from me: "Game Awards is one long infomercial masquerading as an award ceremony. Change my mind," right? So, again, that's the data that they're basically collecting, right? Like they're trying to harvest the same information that Facebook does. And with that information, like they're not just interested in one person, they're interested in trends, behavioral patterns, what people think, etc., etc. Average height for a Chinese woman is about 5 foot. Let me see how much is feet in 2 inches. No fucking way. Oh, I can just ask Grok. How much is 5 foot in centimeters? There's no fucking way, that's so tiny. Holy shit. 152 centimeters. Dude, like, if you had a woman like that, you need to start putting chairs in every area of your household. Like, you would put a chair so that she can reach the cupboard. You would put a chair so that she can reach a bookcase. Like, there would be, like, your house would be littered with tiny chairs. That's insane. I refuse to believe that Chinese women are that small. Asian women are small as heck. But Twitter told me that if you that if you don't have the height of consent, it's problematic. And now I find out that the entire Asia is small. The AI thinks you are important enough to collect information. I think it's a system that you can use on anyone right now on Twitter. So long as they have like enough posts. Like if someone doesn't have the required number of posts, the AI doesn't know anything. Houses are also smaller in China. Oh, come on. Height of consent. There was a cosplayer. Uzaki-chan. Uzaki-chan is a perfect example, right? So, like, Uzaki-chan in the anime, she's got, like, massive tits, but she's, like, short, and this is, like, part of the gag, right? Like, let me see if I can find it. Uzaki wants to hang out, right? So it's a popular anime. It's a comedy where a girl is basically like trying to fall in love with a guy, and there's a lot of fan service, and you know, it's like the stereotypical Japanese comedy show where they get themselves into funny situations. And so the main character, like, as you can see, like she's got massive boobs, but like she's very small. Like she's half the size of the guy, which is the romantic interest. And so people on Twitter are saying that she's underage, even though like in the anime she's at the university. And there were cosplayers that are women over the age of 18 cosplaying as her and showing like, no, you can have a real woman that looks like this. But like Twitter, I know if you like this, you're a pedophile. And I'm like, I mean, if this is the standard, yeah, I absolutely hate Uzaki-chan. I dislike everything in it. Even though the anime itself is not pornographic, like, again, it's just like a basic bitch romance type anime. You're not allowed to watch it. It's bad for you. Like Twitter said so. Like the height of consent hasn't been reached, and therefore, the huge googly eyes don't help. I can explain the googly eyes thing. Because I actually did a little bit of research on this during the huge anime jihad that took place in 2020. The reason that anime characters have big eyes is due to a tactic that was first developed by Walt Disney. And so Walt Disney, they wanted to make TV shows, right? In other words, back in the day where you had to draw by hand, they wanted to make TV shows, and so they had to make like thousands of drawings. And it's very difficult, you know, like if you have a Disney movie, you got a lot of time for production, but if it's something that comes up every week, then you got to invest a lot of time and effort into it. And so the type of drawings that are like the anime girls that we know are very simplistic. Like most anime girls are drawn in the same way, right? Like the shape of the head is the same thing. And so if you look at the nose, for instance, like the nose is a little dot, right? Like there's not a lot of details on the face. There's no wrinkles, there's none of that. And in order to display emotion and to express what the character is feeling, you have these big eyes and this big mouth. And this is like an easier way to simply convey emotions that would take a lot more difficulty for a Western studio to do. Like if you look at Justice League, right? Like making Superman angry is actually more, how should I say that? It requires more talent, right? Like not all artists can do it. Like you need to actually study human faces and features. But if you're a person drawing anime and you know how to draw anime girls, making one angry is actually really easy, right? Like you just use the eyes and the mouth and you can make her angry. Now, the thing that they focus on is the hair. Like there's a lot of detail placed into the hair and the accessories. Like, well, as you can notice, like a lot of anime girls have something that Western women don't in fiction, accessories, like hair accessories, right? Like this one has this thing right here. This one has this thing. It's to make them look cuter and more wholesome. But yeah, like the whole reason for the massive eyes is for them to be more expressive, right? You can create a lot more expressions than if they have like small eyes like this, right? Anyway, this is the reason for the way they're drawn. Pedo is prepubescent? Not anymore. The definition has changed. Like, Dr. Disrespect, Tavik King to a 17-year-old girl, right? Like, that's pedophile. So, like, anything that's under 18, even if it's legal in your country, like, even if, like, in Romania is 16 and you're talking to a 16-year-old, I would say, like, the definition is expanding on Twitter even more than that. There's a famous Hollywood actor. What's his name? Fuck, I forgot. The one that's also a climate ambassador. But basically, like, is this actor, and he's dating women that are 18 and dumping them when they're 22. Leonardo DiCaprio, right? So, like, Leonardo DiCaprio has girlfriends that are 18, dates them until they're 22, then they dump them, and they pick another 18-year-old, right? So, like, it's legal. Like, some may say that it's creepy, but, like, people on Twitter are calling him a pedophile. And I'm like, okay, I guess, well, I need to rehash on the definition of the word. Now you can date a consenting adult and still be in the category. I need to make sure that I unfriend and block Leonardo DiCaprio because I don't want to be associated with that type of behavior. Anyway, now explain the tentacles. Oh, I can explain the tentacles just fine. In Japan, there used to be a different type of culture that horrified the Christian missionaries. Like, I'm not kidding. That's literally it. Like, women would walk bare-chested. People would walk naked on the streets. Like, they would have, like, public baths and stuff. So, like, they had a more permissible culture. They had geishas and brothels and stuff. And so, like, the Christians were offended. They started shaming Japan. And eventually they managed to get a law passed that banned the display of sexual organs, right? So, like, none of that in art, none of that in fiction. And they found a way to bypass this by having a tentacle monster, right? Like, it's not a penis, it's just part of the monster, it's just the tentacle. And that's why they actually have this entire genre. The anime guys aren't expressive. Anime guys have big eyes as well. Like, it really depends. But, like, it depends on the genre of anime, right? You need to look at it from the perspective that Japan actually has 4 genres of entertainment. They have entertainment for young boys, entertainment for young girls, entertainment for men, and entertainment for women. And so, based on the type of anime, you will find that in some cases the men, they don't have a lot of detail, they're bland, they're boring, they're supposed to be the self-insert. And then you also have, like, the entertainment for women, where it's the opposite. Like, the female characters are bland and boring, and the male are very detailed. Yuri on Ice, for instance, is a show for women that does actually that. Anyway. Some idiot on Twitter said that a 22-year-old dating an 18 was legal pedophilia. Yeah, no, like people on Twitter seem to keep expanding the definition. This reminds me of when social justice activism became a thing on Tumblr, and everything was racism, everything was sexism. Like, disagreeing with a woman was now viewed as sexism. Like, misogyny used to be, you know, like a drunk husband beating his wife. Or a guy that genuinely, like, dislikes and despises women. That's what misogyny used to be. And then in 2016, misogyny was just, like, disagreeing with Hillary Clinton's policies, right? So, like, it's the same word. It has, like, some vague meaning to what it used to, but, like, it keeps watering down just to make it more encompassing and to be able to label most people with it. I'm glad more harem writers actually make the male main character an actual character instead of self-insert. Yeah, I mean, the different genres have, like, different ways of making men, and I think, like, once you make a lot of those genres, people get bored and they want something new, and so, like, you have the harem protagonist actually having a personality. At the end of the day, it's really what sells, right? Like, if people will buy it, then they will make more of it. I love this interesting take, right? Like, this is a delusional take. And these used to actually exist a lot back in the day, but this is a Twitter post. What radicalized you? And the person is saying DoorDash, right? And like, basically what he's saying, like, what radicalized me is the fact that food is becoming more expensive. Like, DoorDash used to be cheap, and now it's actually more expensive. And then you have the leftists, the educated, like, haha, I'm so smart. You're so uneducated. You and your grocery bill. What do you know about the world? Like, shut the fuck up. Just vote Democrat, because you're a bigot and you don't know anything. Americans are radicalized into insurrectionary neo-Nazism when burgers are too expensive, right? So, like, here you have, number one, like, separating the world into, like, either you're with the Democrats and all of their policies, or you're the Nazis. Like, the worldview is incredibly simple, but they're educated people, right? Like, they see the complex nature of mankind. And but secondly, like, let's assume this is the case, right? Like, let's assume for a second that I got brain damage, and I have become a leftist as well, and I genuinely believe that Americans will create the Fourth Reich if burgers become more expensive. Then isn't it retarded if you don't try to keep burger prices down? Like, aren't you an enemy of humanity? Aren't you inflicting violence on the world if you get the burger price to go up? I mean, if this is legitimately your logic, the primary thing on the Democrats' agenda, if you generally believe there, should be for the burger price to keep going down. Like, you try to subsidize the burger, but obviously, like, they don't believe this, right? Like, this is what really makes me dislike leftist ideology. Like, even if the ideology itself was something that I agree with, I would dislike with the people that are pushing it, because they're so smug and so fucking arrogant. Like, very rarely did I happen to align myself with left-leaning people on the same talking point. Like, I would agree, yeah, you know what, the leftists have a point, and they're pushing my agenda, so I shut the fuck up. But it's so fucking cringe. Like for instance, with Ukraine, right? Like, due to the geopolitics of the region I'm in, due to the fact that I'm in close proximity to Russia, like, as most Romanians, I want Russia to get kicked. Like, the same way Russia doesn't like bordering NATO, Romania doesn't want to border Russia. Historical grievances, historical reasons, geopolitical implications, it's complex. But anyway, I find myself on the same side with the left. And you go on Twitter and you see a guy with a Ukrainian flag in the bio, and you're like, well, this seems like a reasonable individual. Like, let's see some of his takes. And he has like some of the most extreme lib shit takes imaginable. And there was like that transgender person. I don't know the name of that individual, but like he did transition. Like he was a war correspondent, and he transitioned and then detransitioned. And every time, like, I would see him, like, he would be like, oh, the orcs are coming, the orcs. And he would get, like, into the ethnicity of the Russians and try to connect that with, like, savage. And like, what the fuck? Why do you have this person as a speaker? Like, this person can turn away 10 individuals that were sympathetic to Ukraine, but, like, distant from the conflict, with every single post they're making. And it's like, God, like, seriously, one of the worst things about leftist ideology is not the ideology itself, but like the smugness of the people that push it. Like the way they think they're so fucking right. And the way they conduct themselves, even when they know they're wrong. And some of the beliefs that they have, which are just so factually incorrect. Jacob Andrew Arch in his latest video used a lot of footage from Nikkei. What did he mean by this? Oh, did he start playing it? I'll ask. Remember that Facebook allowed people to scream hatred and racism, but only towards Russians. That's another thing, right? Like, that's something else that pisses me off. It's the double standard. It's like I noticed how easy it is to get leftists to hate. Like, their entire ideology is built around anti-hatred, right? Like, they want to eliminate a human emotion from mankind. Like, the idea of hating someone, like, that should not exist. Like, you should never hate anyone. That's leftist ideology. And yet I have not seen people more hateful than leftists during the pandemic. Man, like, it was almost like a switch. It was almost like a click. Like, one day they were decent people, and the next day they would act like raging zombies towards their neighbors. Like, foaming at the mouth, and it's like, he's not vaccinated, lock him up. And it's like, what the fuck? Get him fired, ruin his life, destroy his career, ruin everything they had about it. And it's like, why are you doing this? Holy shit. Society has become so insane that being a gay furry who works on corn is now tamer in comparison, says Noah Gooder. I don't even know what to say about it, to be honest. I kind of miss the 90s, where, like, people understood that a human being is a complex individual, and, like, they can do certain things while... Like, here's my favorite take with the 90s, right? You had Marilyn Manson, and Marilyn Manson at the time was a Satanist, edgy person, doing all the wrong things, right? Like the idea of someone singing black metal and doing all of this stuff, like, created the image in the public that he must be, like, some sort of edgelord. And he was, but, like, he was an edgelord in his shows. When he actually got interviewed, it shocked people about the fact that he was extremely well educated, well spoken, and could behave like any other person in society. Because like the idea of Marilyn Manson at the time was like he's a Satanist, right? Like if you interview him, he's going to talk about blood, guts, and animal sacrifice, and he's like this type of evil entity. And then you see an interview with him, and he's just having like a normal, casual conversation, and he talks about politics. He talks about like he's knowledgeable in history, he understands culture, and it's like, okay. In other words, like, you can separate the artist from the art. Like, you can separate what a person does for their job. Like, yeah, he enjoys singing about Satanism and shit. But that's a performance. That's a play. That's something he does to entertain people. It's not who he is in his private life. No, I don't think he was a furry. But I do think, like, he actually surgically removed one of his ribs in order to blow himself. I don't know if that was just a PR stunt or if he actually did it. Yeah, Alice Cooper was also similar. Like there's a lot of individuals that you find, you have an image of them. Like, a lot of developers that make adult video games. Like, you would think they're incels, right? Like, you would think they're just some random people locked in a room drawing anime girls. No, it turns out like a lot of them. In fact, I couldn't find a single one that's not married. One of them is a gym bro. Like he's like this ripped, jacked individual. And they all, like, most of them, the ones that I spoke, are right-wing. And it's like, well, why are you right-wing? Like, isn't the right-wing, like, with Christ and morality? Yeah, but they're also for less taxes. Like, I'm making a product, I'm making a video game, I want to make some money out of it, I don't want to get taxed. And it's like, well, that makes sense. It's like, that kind of... but my point is, like, trying to judge a person based on what they're doing is not always correct. Now, sometimes it can be correct, right? Like, stereotypes do exist for a reason. You can find, like, an edgy artist that's, like rappers. Rappers are a perfect example, right? You find rappers that are singing about gangster culture and the hood, and then you realize that it's not an act for them because they're actually involved in that life and they end up getting shot, right? Like, how many rappers and hip-hop artists don't get shot in the United States? And the reason they're getting shot is because, well, they're actually part of that lifestyle. Like, it's not a play. It's not an entertainment. They're not singing about this, the song of La Police, whoop, whoop. Like they're actually singing their experience. Gothic fashion is actually very Christian. Christianity embraces suffering. Depends, yeah. Depends on the denomination. I would say the French Revolution was the worst thing to happen. France was actually on the right track, economically speaking. People do not like knowing that someone else is there better. Like, here's the problem with the aristocracy, right? If you look at medieval... God, like, do we go into history? Do we have time? All right, we'll have time. I'll go into history. History lesson, chat. History lesson. Gather around. History lesson. The system that people in medieval time had was that they believe in religion, right? So, like, not the way we believe in religion, as in you go to Sunday church. No, like, they believe beyond the shadow of a doubt that everything in the Bible is true, right? So, like, there actually is an omnipotent being, God, which is supervising and micromanaging everything. And there are demons. Like, demons are real. Satan is real. Magic is real. Right? Like, witchcraft actually can exist. That's what people believe. That they believe that God chooses a person, a man, which owns the kingdom, right? Like, he is the person that God sends in England to govern over England. And so to rebel against the king is unthinkable because you're rebelling against God. And the king, he gets to anoint a couple of people that are aristocrats. And the aristocrats are carrying the king's will. And everyone else is a peasant. Now, how did this happen? Well, it happened because in every medieval country, when you have humans together, like, they form tribes. The tribes fought each other. And eventually you had, like, a tribe that dominated everyone. And so, like, the strongest among them became the first king. And the king then gave, you know, like, rings of power, usually, like, symbols of prestige, and created the aristocracy. And so, like, the original ones were actual chads. Like, they were actual strong individuals, like strong people capable of controlling society, right? Like, they were the warrior caste, if you will. Now, as time moves on, their offsprings remain in the warrior caste. But they become complacent, they become lazy, they become ineffective. And once the printing press happens and people start reading and realizing that, well, hold on a little bit, like, religion isn't really that what was advertised. Like, there's certain things in the Bible that don't make sense. It's not what the priest told us. And so they're starting to get ideas because people notice, like, you're telling me that no matter how smart I will be, no matter what I will do, I will always be a peasant. Like, no matter the accomplishments, no matter the hardship, no matter the toil, I will always be a peasant. Meanwhile, an aristocrat, no matter how dumb and retarded they may be, no matter the dumb decisions they make, no matter how much of a failure they are, they will always be better than me. Because they're an aristocrat and I'm a noble. And then you have, like, the two-tier system. So, like, if a noble rapes a peasant daughter, he has to pay a fine. If a peasant rapes a noble's daughter, he gets the deuce. Like, how is that fair? It's literally the same crime. Why is it that he can't get the deuce as well, or why is it that I can't pay a fine? Why do we need these two different ways of viewing the world? And so that's why the French Revolution happened. And it would have happened anyway, because as people get well-read and they start asking questions, it's like, why do you get to be better than me? And as the aristocracy stops being able to control people because they become lazy and complacent, well, a change in society is going to eventually happen. Yeah, it's like the two-tier kier. Exactly. The two-tier kier. People don't like the two-tier kier, you know? Like, and I like the two-tier kier. Like, that was codified in legislation. Like, that was actually the law of the land. It wasn't like you can say it's unfair, because, like, no, it's like, look, it says so right here. Like, it's in the book of laws. What is my opinion on the execution of King Charles? I don't know which king is that. Is it like the first king that actually got that had a rebellion against him? Because there's the thing is, like, I forget names and numbers, but, like, I remember the story. And I know that the Brits had a rebellion against one of their kings. And once they captured the king, they didn't know what to do with him, because it's like, he can't be called a traitor because, like, he's the one that God anoints, right? And so, like, he makes the land. It's divine rule. And if it's divine rule, like, he can't break his own rules because he's the king. And they genuinely didn't know what to do with him. And eventually they did execute him. Pagan Europe was actually quite shitty, especially in Germanic society. Roman Empire was okay, I guess. I don't know, like, a lot of people are arguing that Christianity is not a European tradition, in the sense that it was imported from the Middle East. Europe had, well, I guess, like, you can say paganism, but, like, there's, like, different levels of paganism, right? Like, you had the Romans that had their own gods, and that would be, like, the European culture and tradition. You had the Norse, which had their own deities with Thor and Odin, and right? And then you had, like, various other beliefs. But, yeah, the people are saying, like, those are the original European beliefs and traditions. Basically, I don't know if I can show this on the stream or not. But if you want to see, like, actual European tradition, let me see if I can find there's a band that sings it. Yeah,
Hi,
it
this is
sounds like
Plan.
this.
Simply.
Let me just get past the commercials and I'll show you. You showed this. You showed this to my grandma. I think she would have a heart attack if she was still alive. But basically, like, yeah, that's the type of thing that Europeans used to do. What do you mean it's super gay, dude? Imagine this, like just picture this, right? Like you're a division of the Roman Empire sent to invade some Germanic lands, and the enemy soldiers are singing that shit in the woods. I don't think the morale of your men are going to do pretty well. Like I think if you listen to like the enemy units starting to sing like that and move in formation and shit, yeah, I think like you may experience a small drop in morale. I don't think that's actually authentic. Well, obviously not. Like we're not going to be able to get like the genuine authentic song. Because I don't think there's records of it. Like there's no way to actually know, but we can try to figure out how it was like. Those are LARPers. Well, it's as close as we can get to the actual thing, right? Anyway, I'm going to go and upload the videos on my other channels now. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the viewership and the super chat. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.